Hello and welcome to this video on serendipity and how to trust the universe. On your map, your career journey, you will have made a list and got clear on the type of job, the exact career line, whether you want to be an entrepreneur or it's a particular type of job or career industry that you want, and put it in a list. This story, I didn't even do that because I didn't know anything about that, because the universe always does know what you want, but it's also in line with where you are focusing. And so by putting this list together, it helps direct your focus, direct you towards focusing on the career that you're wanting. The story I'm going to share with you is a personal one for me. It was when I first moved to South Africa. I had been working for an entrepreneur himself. He was a one-man business, and for about a year, and I needed to renew my work permit. And in those days, in order to renew a work permit, you needed to leave the country, and it could take up to 6 months. So my partner took unpaid leave from his position and had a position in Melbourne. And I obviously needed to get some work because I needed to live in the 6 months while I was waiting for my work permit to come through. So I put through the application. Everything was in place and all I had to do was wait. And I went around and I had a full-time job in trying to get a job. This was before everything was online. So I went through to all the agencies, applying for jobs, putting down my name, doing all the tests I needed to, giving them my CV. And after a number of weeks, I got a couple of interviews, and there were two in particular that were quite good and quite promising, and I was quite likely to be interviewed by them. And I got the interview for one, and it would be great because it's a job. There was no other offer, and it had been a few weeks now and I needed to get a job. But it wasn't necessarily anything great. It was in the mining industry, sort of admin project work. But the other job was IT related, and it was with an international company. So it was really going to help me with my work permit. So that is the job that I wanted. That is the job that I really thought, like, this is the one that I really need to get. This is the one. The other one's just like, will get me by. That's sort of nothing. But this one, this IT one, that's what I really need to get. And I got interviewed by the mining industry, and I was waiting for the interview for the IT. I was waiting for the interview. I was hounding the agent saying, do you think they're going to give me an interview? Because it all seemed very promising. I ticked all the boxes. And then I got offered the job with the mining industry, and I put off accepting, because I was hoping, almost forcing for this IT job to come through, because in my mind, consciously, that would be the better job because it would give me so much, because I'm applying to extend a work permit in the IT industry, and this is an IT job. So this is what I need. The other's mining. It's like not going to get me anywhere. It's kind of useless for me. Anyway, so I went by. I ended up, it was either a case of just hoping that I would get another job if I rejected this one, or give this interview, or I don't know. So I had to accept it. I ended up having to accept it. And so reluctantly, I accepted the mining job. And I was never offered the interview for the IT one that I really, really wanted. So to begin with, I was quite disappointed until things started to reveal themselves. This job in the mining industry was based in Melbourne. That's where the head office was. That's where everybody was. But it happened to also have a one-man company connected to it in Perth, where my family was, where I would have to go to wait out the end of my work permit when my partner had to go back to his job. So I would have a job automatically. And there was a one-man company connected to this mining company in Cape Town. What are the chances? Not only that, But this job in Cape Town, of all the places in Cape Town where this job could be, and Cape Town is not a small place. I was living in the southern suburbs. It could have been anywhere in the southern suburbs. It could have been anywhere in the northern suburbs or miles away from where I lived. It ended up being at UCT where my partner was working, which was a 20-minute walk from where we lived. Not only that, UCT is rather a big campus. There's upper campus, middle campus, lower campus, and there's some off-campus sites. There's medical campus, and there's various sites around the place. So it could have been anywhere at UCT. Not only was it at upper campus where my partner worked, it was the very next door building. Now, of all the jobs that I got in Melbourne, Australia, could be connected to Cape Town in the very next door building to where my partner was working. What are the chances? Now, I didn't know that. I thought this other job in the IT industry was the one that I needed. But no, the universe really knew this is what I needed. This is giving me work everywhere where I needed to keep me while I'm in Melbourne. And then when my partner goes back, I've got a job in Perth while I'm with my family waiting for my work permit to come through. And then my work permit did come through, but by that stage, the man that I was working for, he had been desperate. He needed someone in that 6 months that I was away. So he'd employed someone else. So he only needed me part-time, which wasn't great for me. I didn't have towards health then. I never knew anything about towards health then. So I actually needed more than that. What I discovered is that this company that I was working for, that was also based in Cape Town, in that building right next door to my partner, that this company, which worked very closely with UCT, I could get a company transfer from the Melbourne office to the Cape Town office in a month. Much easier than I'd done for the work permit renewal. This job that I'd been rejecting, this job that I thought was going to lead me nowhere, was just going to help me survive, that was like, I really don't want this job, that I was resisting with everything inside me, was the best thing that ever happened to me, that got me so far that it's got me so that I got a company transfer. So, and they needed me part-time in Cape Town because they needed to set up the company in Cape Town. So to begin with, for the first year, I worked mornings in the Cape Town in this company, and the company's name was Amira, and I worked for them at UCT in the mornings. And in the afternoons, I went to the other company. And so I effectively had a full-time job. I had 2 part-time jobs. And the other job, he couldn't continue renewing it. So this helped me even further, because what would I have done after that year of that work permit of working part-time? Because that ended up coming completely to an end because he was unwilling or unable to help support renew my work permit for another year, and I would have had to have left the country again. However, this company transfer that came through, I must check. I'm not sure if it was a year or if it was longer than a year. But by the time it came through to renewal, I didn't have to leave the country, and I could renew it for 3 years. And so I renewed that for 3 years. And then as time went on, after a while, once the company had been set up in South Africa and all the systems were in place, because this company, it was like a middle body that worked with sponsors in the mining industry and universities, including UCT. For UCT had a space where they needed me. They actually needed the skills that I had from this company. And so now I actually do work for UCT, and I started to get work permits through UCT. And my latest work permit has been a 5-year work permit. So I've gone from a 1-year work permit, 3-year work permits, and now a 5-year work permit. And all from this company that I thought was not going to be any use to me at all. But the universe had other ideas. So see the serendipity. So this video has been here to help you to realize that sometimes when you're stuck and you think you're in a job or you're in a career that is just really not working for you, maybe there's something in that that is actually helping you. Just keep clear of where it is that you're heading and trust whatever it is that the universe is doing behind will guide you. This is just one example of many, and it's, to my mind anyway, very powerful. To this day, I don't know how many years later, 15 years later, I'm still in awe of how it all worked out, and I didn't have a clue, and I wasn't even consciously manifesting, and this is what it did for me. Imagine what we could create with conscious manifesting. So anytime you need inspiration for letting go and trusting the universe, just take note of what I've shared with you in this video and just have a think back along your career and see, where is it? Is there something there, that something you thought was not helpful that is helping you? So do the exercises so that to give the universe a very good, clear idea of where you're headed, and trust it and see what happens. I look forward to being part of your journey.